Hey Gator artists, this week we are going to be making some oil pastel alligators. If you don't have any oil pastels, that's okay. I'm going to show you a way to do a similar project using water and washable markers at the end of the video. If you do have some oil pastels, let me show you what supplies you're going to need today. You're going to need white paper, a black marker, your oil pastels, and you might want to keep some tissues or paper towels nearby to wipe off your fingers or your oil pastels if they're dirty. We're going to start by drawing our gator. Now this is an alligator that I've done before with many different classes. He's very simple, kind of blocky, lots of rectangles. We're going to start in the middle by making 3 sides of a rectangle. Then, as you come in, you're going to make 1, 2 bumps to show where the legs are going to be. Then to finish the legs, come down and put a zigzaggy foot on the bottom. Now remember, this is a video, so you can always pause and rewind to play something again. Come down, put a zigzag, and go back up. Next, we're going to give our alligator a tail. To make the tail, you just make a nice big point coming off the back. The eye is a circle, and you want to make it nice and big. You don't want it to be too tiny. And go ahead and put a smaller one inside. Because this part is so small, it's going to be hard to do with the oil pastels, so you can go ahead and color the inside of the eye in with your marker. For our gator's mouth, we're going to go out, down, and back into the middle to make the top of his mouth. Then do the same thing on the bottom, but we want his mouth to be nice and open so we can add some teeth. Go down and then back up. When you put the teeth, you want to make sure the teeth are nice and big. We don't want them to be too small because then it'll be hard to get around them with the oil pastels. So instead of a bunch of little teeny tiny teeth, you want to put just a few nice big sharp teeth on top of our gator's nose. 2 little bumps. Now we're going to break up the space inside of our alligator so that when we get to coloring, we have lots of different areas to put our color. I'm going to start at the tail by drawing a line down the back. And I'm going to put some lines inside the body too. These can be straight or diagonal. It does not matter. And then our gator needs some spikes. Just like the teeth, we want to be able to color these. We want them to be nice and big all the way down his tail. Now we have a great looking gator, but what is he doing? He's just floating in space. Next, you want to think about your background. Is he standing on the ground? Is he floating in actual space with planets all around him? Is he on a pile of ice cream? You get to decide. I'm going to put this one on the ground. So I'm going to draw some nice swampy ground down here. Being careful not to draw through my alligator's feet. And I'm going to add some rocks and plants down here to the bottom. The nice thing about rocks is they can be any size or shape. And I gotta remember I'm going to be coloring in these things with oil pastels. And my oil pastels are pretty thick. So I don't want to make any of my shapes too small. I want to keep them nice and big so that I have room to color in around them. Some marshy plants. and grasses growing around this gator, and some rocks. Okay? Next I have to decide if it's daytime or nighttime. I think this gator is going to be in the day since my finished sample is already at night where it's nice and starry. I think I'm going to put a sun like it's setting. It's falling down behind my gator. I'm going to make a nice big sun peeking around behind him. And then maybe the rays of my sun are fanned out around my alligator. Let's see. I think I missed a little line right there. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good for my drawing, so I can put the top on my marker. And I'm going to slide over a little so I can bring my oil pastels in. Now, my gator in my sample was green, but you do not have to make your gator green. You can use whichever colors you have. I think with this gator staring out into the sunset, I think he might be red, a nice fiery red. We're going to make these look kind of tie-dye. To do that, instead of coloring like I normally would with my oil pastel,